let us go into the session. Pratham, good morning. Are you regular to join your classes?
Yes, sir, I'm regular.
Okay, good. So some students, especially, I've been um, observing them. Have perhaps they have network fluctuation or some other problems. I don't know, but they are a bit irregular. So let me share the screen. Shivani Shrestha, good morning, and yes. So is the screen visible? Ekikrit, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just study this. What can you see on the screen here? I have to just clarify some discussion topics. We just went through the essay, but we did not discuss much about the content of the essay here. Now, simply we have to find out. For some, it may be easier. Those who have joined the whole session, whole class in previous 2 days, and those who have read the text as well. Just remember one thing, that if you read the text, it will be quite easier. Everyday reading is must. Everyday reading, each topic reading on the very same day. That is our uh, precondition. Before joining the class, reading at least half of the topic or complete topic, then joining classes, listening the lectures, and then listening our friends as well, then making some discussion, some queries, questions as well. Only listening is not sufficient. Sometimes raising the questions, discussion questions, questions for some further curiosities and uh, further elaboration is very important. So let's look at this, and this is final session on this topic. Then we'll move into another one. So what can you see on the screen? What are these? Can you see the figure or pictures over here? Like
Yes,
that,
sir.
I have wrote this one.
Yes, sir.
These are
Metal pins.
okay, metal bolts or pins, and these are known as rivets. This is one rivet, this is another rivet. These are pairs of rivets or numbers of rivets. So these are the rivets. And what do they do? Their main function is to attach or to uh, connect each part with the other, or they connect the parts. So we have to be very clear about these two words, rivet and popper. Actually, this is pronounced as popper. Rivet, the rivet popper. A short noun, if it is used as noun, rivet as the noun, it means short metal pin or bolt for holding together two plates of metal, and its headless ends being beaten out or pressed down when in place. So these are the dictionary meanings, dictionary taken words. If it is used as verb, uh, then it joins or it fastens plates of metals with a rivet or rivets with other part or other parts. So this sentence is like a rectangular plate containing an iron rivet, or the linings are bonded, not retrieved to the brake shoes for longer wear. So these are the meanings, and simply from picture you are clear about this. Uh, then the second terminology in the essay under the title here is pauper. Pauper means simply the words from plural. Its plural is paupers, as writer says. Right, writers say we are paupers. This is countable noun. A pauper is a device for fastening clothes It consists of two pieces of plastic or metal which you press together, and we are pressing together. We are fastening. We are the people who have been doing working with these rivets, either uh, taking out of them or just joining them. So this rivet and poppers. What can you see in the second picture? Just study it. Before we discuss on the importance of diversity, the concept of ecosystem, those who are from the science background, you must have very clear concept, and others also we have discussed this in our previous classes. We are familiar with this. So, what is the importance of specific diversity? What is the importance of that ecosystem? What is the role of the species in maintaining balance in the diversity? And this is simply from this picture. Is am I audible? Clearly audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please let me know if there is some disturbance in the noise. Might have some fluctuation in network. So importance, regarding the importance of species diversity, we have to very clearly somehow this is sketched uh, things here we have to notice, like uh, this community with more species. There is said to be 20 thousands of species in the on the earth, and this the species, there are more numbers of species than this ecosystem, or that diversity is simply regarded as more diverse. That means more species means more diverse in the on the earth or in the ecosystem. And if there are more species, then it is more diverse. And if it is more diverse, then it is more stable as well. So that is the role, that is the importance of much diversity or species diversity on the nature or on the earth. If it is stable, then there may be productivity variation. There may be occasional disturbance on the earth or on the nature, on ecosystem, or there may be some sorts of invasion by alien species. If this we call occasional disturbance, this may be natural or like by created by the nature itself, or it may be man-made. So there are both disturbances, natural as well as man-made, that regularly, occasionally disturb the ecosystem. There is one Tillman's philosophy, Tillman's hypothesis or Tillman's theory regarding the system of biodiversity and this species diversity. They say similar year to years, uh, that every that year to year total biomass production. And they also talk about, Tillman also talks about diversity. If that is more specific, there are more diverse, then there is more productivity as well. So more diversity means more productivity. The second hypothesis was generated or proposed by Rivet Popper's hypothesis, Paul Ehrlich, we have already discussed. Then he says, in the nature, like he has compared the airline or this growth mania airline, one simply imaginative name. This airline has been compared with ecosystem. These are the species, these are the rivets in the aeroplane, and these rivets in the aeroplane are analogous to the species in the ecosystem. Some there are thousands of these rivets, hundreds of rivets. They are just coining, they are just responsible to jot down these parts to each other. And there are some key species or key parts or key rivets, but some are just substantial or just alternative ones. Not all are equally important. Like this may be this may have much important role than this one. So this one of course has much important role than this ones. So these are some species which have even more important role in the ecosystem. Similarly, there are some rivets which are more or which are crucial or which play important role in the rivets in maintaining the connecting the parts in the airline. uh, Paul Elric says, in the same way as there are the rivets in the in the airlines, there are the species in the ecosystem, and this if this ecosystem is stable, that means if it is more diverse, then there may be more consistency, and if there is more consistency, then there is more productivity as well. So that is the relation. And look at this is the key species. These are just other species which have their survival based on this key species. Similarly, this is the key rivet, and which helps to jot down with other rivets. If we just take out this key rivet, of course the whole system will be disturbed. Similar is the case in the ecosystem as well. So this is all about the concept. What can you see on the next slide?
Rivets in airplane, rivets in ecosystem.
Okay, can you just study, look at what can you see here?
By rivets in an airplane, it shows some screws attached to the plane, and rivets in the ecosystem, it shows different species.
Yeah, so either the plants or the animals or the birds, all are these rivets of the ecosystem. In the second picture, this greenery, this plantation, the water, biotic, abiotic, all these species, they are the rivets in the ecosystem. And this is analogous. So the analogy in this essay is this aeroplane just analogous to our ecosystem. As you see the rivets, thousands, hundreds of rivets here. Because of this huge aeroplane has been just saved itself. As we have saved, we are able to save this all with the rivets, and it has become stronger, suitable for human vehicle as a vehicle for human beings. Similarly, this has also been possible only with the famous and popular chemistry or nice chemistry between and among the creatures, among the plants, among biotic and abiotic things. So there must be good chemistry or nice chemistry between or among these for its survival or suitable existence. That is analogous to the essay. I hope the question, the interest is clear here. Anusa, can you see what can you see on the screen here? Anusa, are you there? Rather than just posting some messages on the chat box, I prefer, because I can't see. I put the slide on the full screen share mode. Can't see your messages. Better if you unmute yourself and do raise. Prasanna, are you there? Prasanna, Jalal? What can you show on the screen here? Prasanna? Let me find out if the people are joining us and properly listening us or not. Okay. Anupama, what can you see on the slide?
If the plane loses one rivet among the millions, it may not significantly affect the aircraft as a whole, but if it starts losing rivets successively.
Thank you very much. So just to go through this concept, this person is Paul Elric. And as we said earlier in previous one, if some nut bolts are taken away and they are sold, may not have that much disturbance. But if the major ones or the key rivets are taken and they are sold, like if our heart is sold and taken out, what will be the condition of this whole body? Similarly, if one finger that will be cut down, what will be the case? Simply cutting finger may not have that devastating effect. We may lose one organ, or we may have sometimes blooding, but taking out this whole heart Can you imagine of the existence of human life then? That is the case. If the plane loses one rivet among the million thousands, it may not significantly affect the aircraft. It again may work, like the case in of the case of tire puncture, as which one, and again that is the not the number, rather than the number which one is disadvantaged. Similarly, the air it may not significantly affect the aircraft as a whole, but there may be slightly. But if it starts losing rivets successfully, the purpose takes all successively and continuously. What may, of course, it may weaken the aircraft and affect the flight as well. Uh, and similarly, it could lead to a serious accident. Ultimately, there may be serious accident. That is the same case with the environment. Now consider what will be the case with case of an ecosystem. Like aeroplane has been here compared with or just analogous to ecosystem, and rivets are analogous to species. In the same way, what will be the case if some species are some species die out of the earth? May not have that much uh, significant effect in its total ecosystem, but if some key species just they get extinct from the ecosystem, of course it will have some disturbance. If every passenger traveling in the airplane starts taking rivets home or selling them for their benefit, or just same in the same way, some just say uh, taking or making species extinct, what would be the condition? Initially, it may not affect flight safety. One or two taking of one or two rivets away or selling them, but it may have again proper functioning. So similar is the case with ecosystem, but over a period of time, the plane becomes weak and dangerous. Similarly, in the regarding the ecosystem, species become endangered, and then they get extinct, or the whole ecosystem loses its balance. That is analogous with this one. Also, loss of rivets on critical parts or the key species like wings causes more serious threats than losing rivets on lesser importance like seats. If we take some nut nails and bolts from the seats, may not have that much disturbance, but of the wings, what will happen? So same is the case with the ecosystem. This is compared to key and critical species as well. Key rivets means key species in on the nature. This is simply the uh, revision only. So what is the rivet popper analogy? This must be very we must be very much clear about this. This rivet popper hypothesis was proposed by Paul Ehrlich, as we have already discussed. He was the Nobel Prize winning German Jewish physician and scientist of Stanford University, USA. So uh, uh, along with uh, the let's say uh, wife, just they carried out researches, they studied on the ecosystem, ecology, human population, and so on. According to this hypothesis, in an aeroplane, just we discussed, all parts are joined together using thousands of rivets. Similarly, in the ecosystem, all the species are joined together by thousands of species, 20 thousands of or more than that in the ecosystem. Whole ecosystem has maintained its balance and in that way. So it is an analogy or comparison for the understanding of importance of biodiversity and need for conservation of species. So there is comparison, there is it is an analogy. It talks about we must have clear understanding of importance of biodiversity, and also we need some conservation of those species, especially humans have to consider this. So we can consider an aeroplane. It is made up of millions of rivets. A rivet is a short metal pin or nail or bolt for holding together two plates of metal that we discussed in the first slide. Ecologist Paul Ehrlich gave rivet popper hypothesis to help understand the contribution of species. So that is the contribution of species. If they lose, they get extinct, the whole system will be disturbed. And that's why the richness or the diversity, the more the diversity, the more the stable the ecosystem becomes. He compared each species with rivet in the body of an aeroplane, just we have discussed through pictures. This hypothesis explains that ecosystem to be an aeroplane and the species to be rivets joining all parts together. This is analogy. Further, the hypothesis in an aeroplane just discusses all parts are joined together using thousands of rivets. Similarly, in the ecosystem, all are joined together by thousands of species in the niche on the earth. So what is the theme of the essay? After we are clear about analogy of the essay, the Rivet Poppers, an essay by Paul and Annie. These are the couple. They discussed and studied on this hypothesis, this theory, and they wrote the essay on it. Their study and extensive research works are on the subjects of population control, ecological systems. They just proposed the view no more than two children as they studied the cases in population expanding, spreading population ratio in Africa, in some other countries. Then they proposed the view of no more than two children policy, and that was implemented in China earlier, but now it has been away. That has not been in the practice right now to maintain the population. So their study, extensive research, uh, they have demonstrated through their study or research, they have demonstrated the importance of preserving species as well as produced a valuable compendium, a valuable collection. This they have written lot of anthology collection of books, researches, studies regarding theories of evolution, biology, environment, history, facts, events, population, and so on. This is what they have contributed to the world. The Rivet Poppers is a reprinted from their book Extinction, which was originally written in 1981. And this is the preface. Preface. The summary is written in summary of the whole book is written in this essay. The essay brings with a vivid metaphor. It is the clear metaphor there. There has been the strong comparison that allows the authors to argue by analogy that our world leaders often make casual decisions. Their decisions are responsible to endanger the ecological system or the species of Earth. So, through their conferences or in through their policies, in through their decisions, these leaders, world top leaders, they are responsible to make these casual decisions, which are not always with regard to or in maintaining the ecosystem. Like one belt road, you have heard. So what will be the condition of the nature with this development? This one belt road initiative, especially started by uh, by by which country? Are you familiar with this one belt road initiative?
No, sir.
No, sir.
China, which has initiated this from Beijing to some hundreds of countries. The roads will be initiated, and international trade and commerce will be just boosted up or enhanced. One belt road from Shanghai, China to Shanghai to Nepal, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and so many other countries. So yeah, that means that we are just involved in carrying out improved life, quality life, some development works. But what will be the cause, or what will be the result in the ecosystem or of specific Earth. And for this, the world top leaders, great leaders, or let's say um, developed nations are responsible for this. So there is the strong comparison here made, or vivid metaphor that has been used. These people are the rivet poppers. You are rivet poppers, I am rivet poppers, we are rivet poppers, they are rivet poppers. Means who is then working to conserve the nature? This is the metaphor. We are rivet poppers. The basic purpose of this essay is, as we have already discussed, not to argue, but to persuade. We have to be persuade. We have to persuade. We have to be persuasive to the argument the writers have made in this essay. Yes, this is happening. We should not. We are not supposed to go against it. They have minutely observed the situation, and they have written this static stat or statistics based argument considering the world situation of the ecosystem. What can you say on the next?
Textual analysis of the essay.
Yeah, can simply you read out this loudly?
Setting the scene. Suppose you walk from the terminal towards your airline. You notice a man on a ladder busily prying rivets out of its wing. You inquire. You wonder, listening him and his way of assuring you. What does the rivet popper respond to you? His remarks that he has made to convince you further puzzles you, and you go back to the terminal, report the gibbering idiot and growth mania airlines to the FAA, and make reservations on another carrier. You never have to fly on an airliner, but unfortunately, all of us are passengers on a very large spacecraft, one on which we have no options but to fly. Frighteningly, it is swarming with rivet poppers behaving in ways analogous, similar to that just described.
Yes, this is the case. अब यो अवस्थामा आफूलाई उभ्याउनुहोस्। यस्तो सिन देख्नुभयो, यस्तो सिन देख्दाखेरि आफूलाई कस्तो लाग्छ, के गर्नुहुन्छ, अनि त्यो रिभेट पफरको क्वेसनहरूले, त्यसको वे अफ कन्भिन्सिङले हामीलाई झन् कसरी पजल बनाउँछ। उसलाई के भन्नुहुन्छ, एउटा जिभरिङ इडियट, यु आर डुइङ दिस भनेर ग्रोथ मेनियालाई रिपोर्ट गर्नुहुन्छ। यु आर नट never interested to fly on such airliner, but unfortunately we are the passengers of the same universe of this spaceship ecosystem, this earth here. Largely this has been compared with that analogy only. We are no more interested, but still there is no another option, but we have to fly, we have to move further, we have to proceed. That's why there is threatening, there is swarming effects. And that's the way rivet poppers on the ecosystem, they are behaving to the nature or into the nature. This has quite similar, quite analogous to the jet or the aeroplane that has simply been described in previous discussions. So this is the case, and just you suppose yourself are put in that case, what will you do? How can you will you just not only a single, if that is there is only one rivet popper is taking the rivets away from it and selling for the bonus, for the individual gain, individual prosperity, and also he makes you convinced that nothing will happen because it has become stronger. So don't worry. If he tells you this convincing words, this further puzzles you, then you think on, you inquire on it. So this is the case. You can just think of yourself. So who are the rivet poppers on spaceship Earth then? The writers say all the people, such people as President of United States, the chairman of the Soviet Communist Party, and most other politicians, the decision makers, many big and small businessmen, and most other people on the planet, including you and us. That means most of the people are the rivet poppers on specific Earth. Means they have one or the other way, They are responsible for taking these rivets, selling or taking away these for their individual gain and purpose. So like you can see some agents, जग्गाको दलालहरू हुनुहुन्छ अथवा some decision makers हुनुहुन्छ. So how can you just prove they are the rivet decision makers? Some bureaucrats हुनुहुन्छ. So some politicians or some heads of states or heads of the organizations or even publications, the owners of manufacturers, all these are rivet puppets according to the writers. So why and how you think this question yourself? Think much, because there is no investment in thinking, and thinking is only the panacea for all sorts of curiosities to be fulfilled. That's why thinking is all crucial. Not all, especially you and we, are certainly not crazy or malign. Writers say that not all are equally crazy or they are not malign. They do not wish evil to others. सबैले अर्काको कुभलो चाहेका छैनन्. Most of them are in fact simply uninformed. Some of them we are uninformed. Some few only informed, they are rivet poppers. Some are uninformed, and here the main essence of writing this essay is just to inform them. This is the case. This is happening. Most of them are malign, and no, they are not crazy. Certainly, they are not crazy, though they have been working, or they have been involved in disturbance of ecosystem, but because of simply not knowing as well, not becoming familiar with the uh, devastating effect of into the ecosystem also. Rivet popping is helping and encouraging extermination of species and populations, as this is a crime. Rivet popping is a crime simply because this is helping and encouraging the extermination, extinction of species and populations. The European, what is the condition of this extinction of these great or giant species? We have read in the textbooks or just viewed them in the YouTube channels or in others. We can see the European lion, the passenger pigeon, the Carolina parakeet, and the Stanley brown butterfly. These are some of the numerous rivets that are now irritatively, uh, irretrievably, they are gone. They are gone. Uh, their existence is over. Similarly, the chimpanzee, mountain gorilla, Siberian tiger, right whale, and California condor are further prominent among the many other rivets that are already loosened. Some are gone, some are just loosened. Number is decreased. Number is less. Perhaps 10 million species and billions of distinct populations, still more or less, they hold firm. They are in the process of becoming or getting their numbers less and less. There are such 10 millions of species. This is the statistics they put. So what is the role of those species in maintaining the ecosystem? That's a great question. And simply just they provide free public services. We need not to invest for our uh, for so many of our needs. They are simply free to public services. They provide such specific species have the role to provide such services. They maintain ecological system. They help society to persist, society of ecosystems, society of other organisms, and so on. Uh, what can you see on the top of the first sentence on the slide?
The natural ecological systems of the earth are analogous.
Yes, they are analogous, and they are similar to the parts of an aeroplane that has already been discussed, that make it a suitable vehicle for human beings. That's why we are able to get from one place to another. Similarly, our existence is possible in the ecological systems. Ecosystems are much more complex than the wings of engines. Wings or engines are complex, but ecosystems are much more complex, much more well designed, and they are even complex. They are even more diverse. And these ecosystems tend to have redundant subsystems as well. They have multiple subsystems. They have some key rivets, but other thousands rivets have the relation with the key species or key rivets. Similarly, the design, how this ecosystem has been designed, the design features that permit the whole ecosystem to continue functioning properly even after a certain amount of abuse. This is important line. So some minor abuse, if it is done in shown into the nature or ecosystem, of course this works. This permits the proper functioning because this has been complex layer. This has diverse layers, complex layers, the millions and subsystems of they permit this well functioning or continuous functioning. But the case is the continuous disturbance in the ecosystems and the extinction of a key species, as we discussed earlier. If this extinction of key species involved in the cycling of nitrogen, suppose, that could lead to a serious accident. For this, you can further elaborate or imagine imagine a forest area where diverse species of plants are growing. Plants harbor a variety of insects on which a lot of bird species would depend for their food. If a specific plant species dies, the related insect population will be affected, and that will lead to food unavailability for the birds. So one's dependency on the other. In addition, if the plant species was a nitrogen fixer, the death of those plants would mean no replenishment of soil with nitrogen, and this brings less fertility. But population, on the other hand, is stereotypingly uh, uh, increasing. So there are 80% of the population is based on consumption of the food. If soil is fertility of soil will be decreased, what will be the condition on humans, on other species? So this is how the chain has been disturbed, and this will obviously affect the other plants as well. So if the cycle continues, the whole habitat or the whole ecosystem will be negatively affected. This is uh, the continuous result of the disturbance or in the ecosystem and the extinction of key species. You can elaborate further. There are no visible short-term effects, though. These short-term effects may not be clearly visible and they may not have much disturbance, but surely and easily the long-term results or the consequences of removing rivet after rivet and continually forcing species to extinction will have some long-term results and consequences. So what will be those consequences are beyond our imagination, but there are some strategies, as the writers put. Attitudes must be changed before much more time has passed. The first uh, concern of the writers: no sane passenger on spaceship Earth will accept a continuous loss of populations, either that is human population or the loss of other species population. We as a sane passenger, we are no more culprit to the nature than we do not expect, and we are no more able to accept the continuous loss in the nature or the ecosystem. The ecological systems have been much deteriorated. They have been much worsened over most of the several million and billion years during which life has flourished on this planet. But the designers or the policy holders or decision makers argue this. They sometimes do not consider. They say they have maintained the nature, but we can see after the human existence, from these millions of years, the ecosystem has been deteriorated. झन खराब भएको छ, अवस्था झन बिग्रिएको छ. Its ecological systems have been under what would be described by the just airliner. The Rivet popper just in the beginning said it has to maintain its progressive nature, or it has progressive maintenance. It is well maintained and it needs progressive maintenance. So don't worry. Similar is the case. Its ecological systems have been under what would be described by airline industry as progressive maintenance, not progressive maintenance that occur continuously and regularly. We can see in the last 50 years or so, or 60 years or 70 years or so, there has been the disparity between the rate of loss and the rate of replacement, and which has become alarming to the humanity, to the earth, to the nature. And it promises, and this alarming or this disparity promises to become catastrophic for humanity, and humanity or human conditions will be in great disadvantage or great loss, or that will be catastrophic. Like we can see the emergence of corona or some other unbelievable actions or the events, they occur in different periods of human civilization, and all they are just revolting against humanity or human actions, human deeds. We see the effects surrounding. You have studied all ozone layer depletion, global warming, and there are so many no regular rains and so on, untimely as well as unexpected rains, acid rains, disturbance in our productivity and so on. These are the effects. You are familiar with this, or if not, you can just recall two long term problems by two long-term problems essay by
Moti Nisani.
Gage. So similar consequences, the effects we can see. Please once raise your hands. How many of you are listening us? Okay. So the catastrophic is difficult. This devastating effect is difficult to predict. What actually would happen, and this prediction, though it is difficult to imagine, but it is likely. Listen the word. It is. They say, writers say, it is likely to be an end of human civilization. As T.S. Eliot has written a book, and he has just written Human Whimper, the Eliot's Whimper, the book, and he says the hollow mean, khokro manche, khokro manav. So just prosperity, I have this and that. Humans have vanity, yes. So your vanity, and this vanity is vain. So this catastrophic can be difficult to predict, but of course it is likely, means there is more probability, more chances that this may lead an end of human civilization. So the end may not be recognizable, but listen, um, we have missed some of our culture, some of our uh, day-to-day practices, even simply because of a single corona, or who knows what might be the and how might be the end of human civilization. This may not be recognizable, but fortunately writers end their essay with the last sentence: the accelerating rate of extinctions can be arrested. we can arrest, we can stop this accelerating rate of extinctions. We can stop them, we can replace them, we can implement various policies, various things, though which will not be easy. Of course, this stopping accelerating rate जुन जुन रूपमा जुन हिसाबले यो एक्सटिङसन लोप हुने दर बढ्दैछ त्यसलाई हामी स्टप गर्न सकौँला, एरेस्ट गर्न सकौँला, तर that will not be easy. त्यो सजिलो छैन. But that is not again impossible as well. But for this possibility, we need the joint venture. हामीलाई एउटा सहकार्यको आवश्यकता छ. What they say, it will require both the education of, first of all, awareness of hundreds of millions of people, and at the same time, not only awareness is important. We have seen people are aware of, still they have been going against. So equally at the same time, there are some concerted actions by the governments, by the single individual, or by the institutions, or by the institutions like WFO or FP and so on, UNFPA. These all, they must have some concerted actions from their part and awareness, and this is joint venture only this will be possible. Now here is the fruit for the last presentation today. What can you see on the screen?
Assignment.
Homework.
Okay, so write yes if you are clear on this assignment, and write if you have any questions, if it is not clear to you. First read within 2 minutes. Any questions? And just remember, if we do not produce something, perform something, that input, if there is no output, there is no meaning of input. Likely input, interaction, and output, or in your computer language, if you say input, processing, and then output. So if we have some input, we must have some output as well. Without output, our input is, remember, our input is not processed. That's equally important here, and this is for output. You consider this, and just you submit by
Sir,
Wednesday. Yeah.
by the systems that can absorb certain limited forms of abuse, do you mean systems that organizations that stop such activities, global warming and all?
Not oh yes, thank you for this great concern. Here means ecosystems can absorb. इकोसिस्टममा धेरै डिस्टर्बेन्स भइराखेको छ, केही हदसम्म त्यो इकोसिस्टमले त्यसलाई पचाउन सक्छ. टु लिमिटेड, सर्टन लिमिटेड फर्म अफ अब्युजहरू, केही जस्तै हामीले कोइला खानी अथवा अन्य त्यस केही टु सम एक्सटेन्ट इट क्यान टेक दिस एज नर्मल केस. त्यो इकोसिस्टममा त्यो क्यारिङ क्यापेसिटी छ. जस्तै ह्युमनलाई होल्ड गर्ने रिसोर्सेसहरूको अब्जर्भेसन अथवा त्यसको मेन्टेनेन्स गर्ने, त्यसलाई आफसे आफ अटोमेटिक रिप्लेसमेन्ट गर्ने, त्यो क्यान एब्जर्भ गर्न सक्छ इकोसिस्टमले. तर बट आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पोइन्ट द ओभरअल इफेक्ट विल बी इरिभर्सिबल. तर केही समय पश्चात त्यो इफेक्ट चाहिँ, त्यसको प्रभाव चाहिँ अपूरणीय हुनेछ. इरिभर्सिबल मिन्स द्याट क्यानट बी compensated. So that means short term effects, some effects ठिकै छ. तर जस्तै यो ठ्याक्कै कस्तो भनेपछि एरोप्लेनको नर्मल अथवा अल्टरनेटिभ रिभेटहरूलाई निकाले जस्तो, तर त्यसको मेन जुन त्यसले विङलाई जोड्ने जुन मेन अथवा रिभेट हो, की रिभेट हो, त्यसलाई निकालिदिँदा के होला? त्यस्तै हो. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just and relate this with the essay, and also give an example or examples. Simply an example of an ecological problem or problems in Nepal. You have understood or you have read so many cases, and tell the causes and effects of this or those problems, or this problem or those problems. So just write this based on your knowledge, based on your further study, and based on the this essay, and based on your prediction as well. So here you are writing an article. Remember, who writes an article? You are writing this in this article, and one who after this writing you will share it, you will present your writing, and then you will submit this writing to any of the publications like the Kathmandu Post, like the Rising Nepal or the Himalayan Times, and your writing will be your article will be published. It will have some impact in the society as well. That is my intention here. So you are not limited into writing into copy and just limiting, just putting this with yourself. No, after this writing and rewriting, revisiting, discussion, then you will make it publish in any of the journals or any of the newspapers further. So you will be uh, submitting these assignments in the given uh, email ID within Wednesday. Each question a day means 4 questions, 4 days, 4 assignments. So please do this. If still you have any questions,
Excuse me, sir.
yes, please.
Sir, when will we have our UTO of English?
Uh, what about other subjects?
Nothing is clear, sir.
Okay, then I have just planned to conduct this next week. Let's discuss some 2 essays especially. One, you have gone through this reading Albert Einstein's, though will have some discussion, but let's complete these remaining 2 essays, one speech and one essay by Nietzsche. Then I will cover this whole unit, and next week, on perhaps on Sunday or Monday, we'll have our unit test as well. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
So have you taken the screenshots, or should I just upload these PPTs into the LMS?
So you can upload in LMS.
So you can just download from there, go for further discussion. These are only for the classroom purpose, and you can just study, elaborate them for further. So this much for today. Let me just take the attendance as well. If there are some further questions, we'll have discussion for these 2-3 minutes.
So the rivet popping activity is like reversible, but the ecological जस्तै तपाईको त्यो स्पिसिसहरु गयो भने त त्यो रिभर्सिबल छैन नि त सर, त्यसैले त्यो जस्तै रिबिट पपिङ र त्यो स्पिसिसलाई कम्पेयर गर्न मिल्छ त टोटली?
It's a good question though, but you can say that if species are extinct, they cannot be reversed, they cannot be replaced. Yes, that is the case. That is the ultimate conclusion, ultimate reality. But before that as well, if in some cases, to some extent, we can protect them before they get extinct. We can protect them in zoos or in sanctuaries or in other ways. That's why the writer's main intention here is to make aware to the readers who are not familiar with this one, and just to tell or inform those leaders or those we call great people, just to inform them that they are working for this condition, or they are like the rivet poppers. Anshu, is this clear or further question?
Also, it's clear.
Okay, so let me please take the attendance. Amit Acharya.
Yes, sir.
And Chitij.
Present, sir.
Okay. Ujjwal, perhaps just left. Soumya.
Yes, sir.
So Shubheksha,
Yes, sir.
Diwas Barakoti absent. Prasanna
Present, sir. Gilal is present.
yes. No. Prasanna Basnet or Prasanna Basnet. Prasanna is there. Prasanna Gilal, Prasanna Basnet absent. Utsaha.
No, sir. Prasanna Basant is there. He has mic problem, sir.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, and Utsaha Anup,
Present, sir.
Prasanna Gilal,
Present, sir.
Khushbu absent. Dia, Anusa, Mohit has left already. Okay, Roshan,
Yes, sir.
Erisna,
Yes, sir.
Anupama,
Yes, sir.
Satiksha,
Yes, sir.
Sarjay Bhakta,
Yes, sir.
Kijen, Mayuk, sorry, Riba,
Yes, sir.
Mayuk,
Yes, sir.
Anshu,
Present, sir.
and Shivani,
Present, sir.
Rosina, she is quite irregular. So, Yukesh,
Yes, sir.
Ekikrit,
Present, sir.
Partham,
Yes, sir.
Anup, sorry, Partham after Barun Tandukar. Okay, thank you everyone.
Right.
So do these
Sir.
activities. Just you can get these slides from the activities, and in our next class we'll continue one of the speech or the essay.
Sir.
Aryan.
Sir, I am. Sir, you didn't call my name.
Oh yes. So thank you. I'll take
Sir,
it.
roll number 19.
Okay.